how confident are you with scratching? Do you trust yourself to be able to navigate both turntables, scratch on time?
Scratch and release on time. I should
Right.
be able to.
Yeah? Okay. I'm going to give you the ah sound.
Okay.
And we'll see how comfortable you are manipulating the ah sound over a drum beat. Do you like scratching the slow beats, fast beats, mid-tempo?
Mid-tempo.
Mid-tempo.
That's right.
Cool. I like your timing. You stayed in the pocket of the drum beat. That's very important. Your scratches are sharp. And what I mean by that is, like, you enunciate the scratch you want to perform very clear and sharp. My only issue right now that I'm seeing that you need to work on is you don't focus your eyes enough on the mark.
I see.
I noticed that when you're scratching, you look up at the computer, or you kind of just, your eyes kind of wander around the room. And fine, your record hand and your fader hand are controlling the gear, but your eyes need to stay focused on where your sound is. You notice when you're scratching, for like a second or two, you were on the beep.
That's right. Yeah,
so
in the beep.
You were scratching here, and then you came here by mistake. That's because your eyes weren't focused on the mark. So I need you to showcase some more scratches for me. This time, track where your serrato mark is. Because scratching isn't just feel and sound, it's also sight.
I see.
All right? Your three senses, your sense of touch, your sense of hearing, and your sense of sight work together. Okay?
I see.
So focus more on the serrato mark, and then and try to get a little more expressive if you can. Like, I feel like your scratches started to get redundant, repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
So try to get more expressive if you can. Okay?
I'll try.
Here you go. Good, cool. That was better. You never landed on that beat.
Yeah, not this first time I'm paying attention to that, and I feel the difference already.
You feel the difference?
Yeah. So pay attention to where the serrato at 12 o'clock, and you always come back to that beat.
You always come back to that beat. So whether it's the logo, serrato, that you're reading,
Or the time code.
Well, you're not going to look at the time code on the
computer.
No,
I meant like this.
Yeah, okay, right, yeah. Here. So whether it's the serrato record, whether it's this font, whether it's
the tape.
Yeah, like one of these stickers here. Like if it's a sticker like this and you're placing it on the label, whatever it is that you use to track where the sounds fall is what your eyes need to be fixated on. So avoid letting your eyes wander. Now, if you're performing live, there are points where you should engage the audience and look at the audience as you're scratching. But be careful. Make sure that you stay aware physically of what your hands are doing so that you don't lose the sound. That's something that pros do. You know, someone like a Qbert, a D-Styles, a Mixmaster Mike. These are scratchers that are so in control of what they're doing and so aware of the movement with their fader hand and record hands that they could look up at you as they're scratching and not lose a beat. But you are a beginner, so you want to practice good habits. I feel the scratch that will help you most with regards to solving the puzzle of like, well, what can I do with my record hand and my fader hand to coax out more rhythms? The scratch that I feel helps you solve that puzzle is the stab scratch. Okay. So we're going to talk about the stab scratch, okay? I know you probably came thinking, all right, well, I want Rob to help me out with regards to my cuts. I want to get better at scratching. You know, I hear DJs do the 2-click flare, the crab scratch, all these crazy sounding, looking scratches. And here I am talking to you about a stab, a scratch that you probably are already familiar with. If you're not familiar with the name, once I start doing it, you're going to be like, oh, okay, I've seen the old school DJs do that. But as old as the scratch is, in my opinion, there's no more important scratch to learn and practice than the stab, because it teaches you coordination, speed, timing, accuracy, articulation in a way that a flare just doesn't. What you want to do is push forward, and then before you pull back, close the fader, or else you're gonna hear the sound being whipped back, and you don't want the sound being whipped back. It's the forward stab, okay? All right. So let's just try the generic way. All right, here we go. Give it a shot. Focus on the mark. See how your stabs are turning into chirps?
Yeah.
Right now your issue is your left hand. You're not dominating the fader the way you need to. All right? Try to, maybe let's do this. Let's not go as fast. Let's just add, let's do this. Get comfortable doing that first. Focusing on that mark. All right, let's talk about your technique. Sounding better?
Okay.
When you're stabbing, there's no need for you to move the fader this far. You want to keep your strokes on the fader short. So the farther the distance that the fader moves, the farther the distance for the fader to come back. Right? So if I have to open this far, that's the same amount of distance I have to move to close it. Whereas when I do the stab, rarely do you see me go past the middle, and most of the time I'm maybe a quarter of the way between the center of the fader and the far left, in this case because I'm using the turntable on the right.
So it's literally like a tap.
Tap it open. And the minute you tap open, your brain has to want to then close it. with your thumb. Okay? So it's easier for me to get the strokes going forward and not backwards the less I open. The shorter the distance I open, the easier it is for me to close it in time before I pull back. See, I'm literally going a quarter of the way. Okay? So just shorten your strokes on the fader. Nice.
So I see where the practice comes in. Your hand has to get used to that movement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's not just coordination, it's hand and arm endurance.
Yes.
You see how you're kind of like
I started getting lazy. Yeah.
Right, you're like, wow, man, you're like, it's a workout, right? And that's why I need you to practice the stab if you want to improve your scratches.
I see what you mean.
So you could learn how to flare, but flaring, transforming, scratches like the crab, although they do take endurance, and obviously they take coordination because you're using your left and right hands. The stab tests your coordination and your endurance more than those other scratches. Familiar with this group? UTFO? Yeah, this guy here, the educated rapper, actually passed away. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
This is Dr. Ice and Kango Kid. They're DJ, Mixmaster Ice. Yeah,
Nice.
sick, right?
Sick.
And that's him right here. He came up with a scale that is great to practice when you want to achieve the accuracy it takes to deliver the stab scratch accurately. Let's listen to the scale. Mixmaster! See? Short strokes. Alright? Get in there. You feel it?
Yeah. Oh, bro.
You're giving me Mixmaster Ice's scale. So any seasoned DJ that sees you do that live is going to be like, all right, he's doing the Mixmaster Ice scratch still, right? Of the stab. Like, we're learning this here at my house because pioneers like Mixmaster Ice laid down certain foundational approaches to scratching that are just important to know. But the point of this is to help push forward.
Yeah.
So you want to figure out a way to articulate the Mixmaster Ice scale of the stab in your own way.
I see.
The next person we're going to study is Grand Mixer DST. The way he articulates the stab, it's the same exact technique, but his articulation is different. So it helps him stand out in his own unique way. So here's an example.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we need a little crowd participation. We'd like to thank you for coming down to the Lower East Side Amphitheater and having the rap attack. We want y'all to go wild style for us right now. To start things off, a nice round of applause for Cool Mo D. Come on.
So whereas Mixmaster Ice was Grand Mixer DST would do see how the articulation is different?
Yeah, it's different.
Same scratch, different articulation. And that's the thing that you always want to understand is I could learn a scratch from Qbert or D-Styles or Rob Swift, but it's not enough to just be able to replicate and regurgitate. You want to articulate in your own unique way. And that's what we're going to figure out is how to articulate the Mixmaster Ice stab in your own rhythm, a la Grand Mixer DST. It's all forward.
Yeah.
It's all forward. It's all, so remember the stab
forward.
is all forward. So it's not, that's forward and back. It's just
All
the
forward.
sound moving forward. So you're taking the scale and kind of like just chopping it up. Exactly. Mark didn't move, you moved.
I moved? Oh, okay.
Good shit, man.
Thank you, man. Oh,
shit.
I can't wait. This is going to be great.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I just need, what I really, this is something I really always wanted to, like, get down packed, like, scratching. Like, when it comes to the mixing and the blending, transitions, like, I even come up, try to create my own, but when it comes to scratching, I just crawl up.
Yeah,
I just hide away, you know.
How do you feel after this lesson?
I feel excited. I feel good, honestly. I feel like what I really just have to do is like practice, honestly. Like once I come on with the sound, it just comes out,
exactly.
Kind of thing, you know. So, and then the more comfortable I get with it, the easier it is for me as well. So, like when I get into the zone, then it just comes out. So it's really practice. Once I know, you know, how, like what I'm learning right now.
Good job,
it's
man.
more practice, man. Thanks a lot, man.
Awesome.
Excited.
Good shit, bro.
Thanks, man.
We'll let me know when you want to come back.
When are you free?